Y'all know we didn't forget, right? I'm just I'm just making sure. Y'all know we didn't forget, right? We didn't forget all the criticism that y'all had for Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl performance. We didn't forget it all. As a matter of fact, I specifically remember a lot of people saying the performance was too black. That he should have performed more of his hits. As a matter of fact, before I even read the article of them talking about Kendrick Lamar winning an Emmy for this performance, let's go ahead and take a look at one of the articles that still is up, because I tried to find a bunch of articles that came out back then. A lot of them are taken down by now. But let's just read this one, okay? Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl halftime performance at the Caesars Superdome in New Orleans has been widely criticized as the worst halftime show ever, despite playing his most controversial track, right? They go on to say, however, not everyone was impressed, not least the crowd inside the Superdome, who were largely silent throughout the performance. One fan watching on said, Kendrick Lamar says turn his TV off before ending his Super Bowl halftime performance. He should have told us that at the beginning of the performance. Oh. Another wrote on social media, Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl halftime show sucks. Oh. A third said that was the worst halftime show ever. While another joked, Kendrick Lamar's got more yards walking during his performance than the Chiefs offense did in the first half. That's whatever, right? So there was a whole bunch of this going on. We had DJ Academics, a whole bunch of different platforms pushing this narrative that everybody hated Kendrick Lamar's performance. But then when you look at the real world results, like going on social media, having conversations with people in person, you start to see that the impact of that Super Bowl was immense. We're talking about people from completely different countries copying Kendrick Lamar dancing. Copying the part right before Not Like Us took place, right? People criticize the fact that he put a song that hadn't even come out yet at the beginning of the Super Bowl. There was a whole lot of criticism for that. A lot of people was asking, where's Mad City? Where's all these different songs? Because Kendrick Lamar decided to perform GNX, not realizing that GNX is the album that Kendrick Lamar actually owns, and that had a lot to do with the fact that he performed that album, by the way, but that's another conversation. My whole point is, this is a perfect example of just let things play out. People hate on shit. People lie on shit. They do that all the time. They gonna have their own narratives. People say, this is how things are supposed to go, so therefore he did it wrong. You hear that all the time. Whenever somebody do something that people aren't used to them doing, or doing something they feel like is a little out of the box, people want to push them back in that box so that they're easier to judge and easier to critique and easier to do all this different stuff, right? You would have thought with all the propaganda out there that Kendrick was not going to win nothing for this performance. But when time fades, right, even with leaking the performance, leaking the songs that he was going to perform, you can't stop authenticity. No matter how many times you lie, no matter how many times you try to hate, no matter how many times you dry hate, all the corny it don't matter. You got to sit back and deal with it. Sit back and deal with it. Now, let's read an article that came out later in the year. Today, as a matter of fact, well, yesterday, because I'm uploading this video tomorrow. When we talk about greatness in hip-hop, there are levels, and Kendrick Lamar just elevated himself to a plane very few artists have ever reached. The Compton-born rapper is officially a two-time Emmy Award, because he won one in 2022, winner after this Apple Music Super Bowl halftime show took him the trophy for Outstanding Music Direction. This isn't just a flex for rap. It's a cultural milestone that proves Kendrick isn't just in the conversation, he's shaping it. Now, the number one thing I want all of us to take away from this is, if I'm correct, y'all tell me if I'm wrong, Kendrick was the first solo rap act to ever have the halftime Super Bowl performance. So going up there and performing mostly songs from a hardcore hip hop album, you know what I'm saying, with a bunch of hip hop West Coast bangers, with a bunch of rapping on it, performing diss tracks, right? For him to take away an Emmy for that, arguably have the most impactful performance of all time, having it being the most watched halftime show ever in history, surpassing Michael Jackson, rest in peace, having it do and having to have the impact that it had worldwide. Rap music did that. Hip hop did that. Hip hop did that. Now, of course, Kendrick Lamar is one of the greatest to ever do this. We love Kendrick Lamar. But when you notice about Kendrick Lamar fans, most of us at least, is that we are also lovers of hip hop. So Kendrick is just a representation currently of pushing that thing forward. There'll be another Kendrick Lamar and another, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to say somebody do the exact same things Kendrick Lamar did, but there will be another person who pushes hip hop forward in the future. You see what I'm saying? Kendrick Lamar just happens to be the person that is breaking barriers for the genre. He did it at the Super Bowl, then turned around and did it for stadiums. You see what I'm saying? Worldwide. People don't understand what this is doing for this type of hip hop. Let's read a little more, right? Social read it, King Kendrick or industry politics. The industry, as it does ever, added a fair bit. Kendrick winning an Emmy off of a halftime performance more or less confirms he's in a different level than his colleagues. Period. In a discussion, all-time artist. Kendrick Lamar winning an Emmy as a halftime performance demonstrates how the award shows are all politics now. The guy raps every 5 years and they give it to him. You see what I'm saying? It's always going to be a narrative. It's always going to be somebody saying something about something that you do. Does it matter? No, it only matters if you give it credence. It only matters if you give it acknowledgement. It only matters if you allow it to where instead of letting the work decide for itself, you feel like you got to go defend yourself in front of everybody. Let the work decide for itself. You feel me? Let the people that love what you do decide for, you feel what I'm saying? And even if you don't got supporters, support you. Because at the end of the day, people are going to hate. People are going to have their own perspectives, and that's okay. It's a part of life. It's a human emotion. It's a human action. That's human. You feel what I'm saying? And I just want to talk about the fact that they cherry picked all these negative comments about the Super Bowl and then refused to put any of the positive comments about the Super Bowl. Refused to put any, like, all of the articles that came out that day, dog, trying to trash this Super Bowl are directly correlated to the fact that he was breaking barriers not only for the genre but black representation. You see what I'm saying? Dude started the show rapping on top of a car. A very lyrical, high-tempo song on top of a car that hadn't released yet. People thought he lost his mind. And then you let time go by, and time proves all. Stop trying to prove this to people who are never going to change their mind. They're never going to change their mind. Stop trying to change these people's minds. It don't matter. It don't matter. Do you? Okay? They said it was too black. They said it was too complicated. They said it was too complex. They said they said it was too simplistic. They comparing it to other performances. They saying it ruined halftime, that people not gonna watch it no more. And here you go. All the results speak for their self. Stop trying to prove things to these people and do you. Talking about the Super Bowl was too black. That's why it did what it did, motherfucker. Because it was too black. Y'all think we don't recognize that when we move, y'all move? And that's respect to all my Caucasian comrades, all my Mexican comrades, all my Latino comrades, all the comrades out there that slide with us. That's for all my comrades out there. This shit ain't about race, but we gotta take pride and understand there are differences, and it's okay to be cool with those differences as long as that pride is not infringing on other people's freedoms, on other people's self-worth and all this different shit. Intentionally. It's okay to admit that the Super Bowl was as black as it's ever been, and that's why it was as impactful as it's ever been. And I'm not talking about the representation they wanted to be. I'm talking about the good representation, the wide spectrum of representation, the humanity representation of blackness. Yeah. Like, comment, subscribe, especially if you're new here, especially if you've been here. I got another video on the way. I got a crazy theory that I want to see what y'all think about. I'm most likely wrong because usually my theories be hitting. I be doing theories on anime, theories of boom, but I never hit on the Kendrick Lamar theories. I do got theories that are like, long standing that I feel like usually can land long standing. But if we just talking about things that are going to land on specific boom, I'll be wrong. But that's not going to stop me from making them. So stay tuned for my next video, and I want y'all to let me know what you think about my next theory, all right? Like, comment, subscribe, especially if you're new here, especially if you've been here. I'll see y'all in a few hours. Let's get it.